Good evening and welcome to ELOSOFUMARTAKES. This is our 360-second take live from the Alec Bradley Lone Star Studio of Azle, Texas. I'm your host, Barry Duplessis, and I'm so proud, so pleased, and so privileged to be with you tonight. It's going to be a fantastic show. Twice as nice. We tried to get this guy on the first time. I screwed up. Never got it done. Not going to get it done a second time. The weather's coming in bad. We're going to make this happen. It's going to be a fun night. We've got a lot to learn, and it's a great new chapter for the company that our guest works for. Stay tuned. This is going to be a fantastic show. But before we get to formal introductions of our guests of honor this evening, we do have to thank the people that make this show possible. That, of course, is our sponsors. And tonight's show is brought to you by our good friends at Drew Estate. Yes, we're talking about it tonight. Drew Estate, the latest and greatest from the Undercrown story. Yes, the El Tigre Dominicana is the latest and greatest from Drew Estate. You want to check out your Drew Diplomat retailers as soon as possible to pick up this new chapter of the Underground story. It's packed full of fantastic new tobaccos that are Dominican forward with a little bit of that Drew Estate story in the mix to make it taste like the past, but make it taste like the future right now in the present. Yeah, I just made that all up and it worked really fantastically. So I'm going to write it down and make sure that I use that from now on. But check out the Undercrown El Tigre Dominicana today from Drew Estate. And welcome, everybody. This is our 360-second take. We're so proud to welcome in tonight's guest. If you're checking us out on YouTube or on Facebook Live, like we broadcast nearly every Sunday night at 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. Our video broadcast is via Foundation Cigars. Nick Melillo was a well-known cigar maker in the premium cigar industry. He is the founder and owner of Foundation Cigars, which produces a range of high-quality, handcrafted cigars. His values include quality, consistency, balance, and flavor. Check out FoundationCigars.com today. Or if you're listening to us on podcasts, whether that be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts, be sure you download, subscribe, and review. Tonight's audio broadcast is your friends at Gran Habano Cigars. Honest, compassionate, great cigars. Be sure you download, subscribe, and review today. And welcome, everyone. As I mentioned, this is our 360-second take. We've done 361 of these. Tonight makes it 362. We can count. Love to do it. And so without further ado, let's welcome in tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is brought to you by United Cigar. Smoke one today and start living united. It is Mr. Javier Largaespada from Drew Estate. Javier, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, Barry. It's so good to be here. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for everyone that's listening too. And yeah, we finally got it done. We're here now. Yes. And congrats, man. Yes. 362 takes, man. That's awesome, man. That shows a lot of consistency and a lot of great work. I know it's not easy, doing it, as long as you've been doing it and being consistent. So for sure, man. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm greatly humbled to be here tonight. Talk a little bit about this new exciting stuff.
Fantastic, man. Well, thank you. Yes, absolutely. And I'm so excited to have you on because we're going to be talking about a lot of new stuff, but we're also going to be talking about you. And everybody knows here, my audience knows is like I love the story behind the story and everything. And so this is going to be a really fun show tonight, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, we had I had a family emergency last time, and then the weather's coming in, and I was like, thinking that Javier is probably going to think I'm like the biggest flake in the world. I swear to God. But I've done 360 days. He has to know. I've almost got a full year. I'm usually a milestone guy. I usually do the 50 and 100 mark of things, make it kind of a marquee show. But, here in a couple of weeks when I do 365, it's like, that's a full year of podcasts, man. That's crazy.
So, yeah. You can listen to one for a full year.
Every day of the year. Yeah.
Every day of the year. Yeah. You can listen to a brand new show. Dude, that's super sick. That's super sick. I love that.
And really appreciate you being on tonight. Let's get down to business, as I told you before, and everyone here knows that the show is I let my guest pick my cigar. I have a feeling I know what you're going to pick, but that's okay. It's still your decision. Whatever you select, I got the choices here for you. Whatever you pick, I'm going to lap, and I'm going to enjoy each and every one of them. So let's start off with one of the newest from Drew Estate. We've got the Deadwood Tobacco Company, Dominicana. Buenas noches.
Yes, buenas noches. Yeah,
it is nighttime.
Really good. It is nighttime. Yeah, and you have a coffee. That's a good pairing for that. But let's see what else you got here. Yeah.
Good. Our mutually friend Jeff Borswich at Corona Cigar Company. You guys a exclusive for him under the
Yep.
acid line, the acid subculture. This is the Beach, the exclusive for Corona Cigar Company.
Oh
Picked that
wow,
up when I was down at Corona Cigar. Um, and
that's
I
neat.
also
Damn,
have,
I'm intrigued by that one.
yeah, yeah, I
I
got
didn't.
got a little bit, yeah, got a little bit of a grab bag there. And then, of course, talk of the town. I know we're gonna be talking a lot about this tonight, but I've got the Undercrown El Tigre Dominicana, the Toro.
Yeah, that's the same one
So,
I got too. So, dang.
yeah, I
Okay,
saw
well,
that.
you made it easy. I was actually going to try to go against the grain. If they weren't Drew Estate cigars, I was going to try to make you smoke something else, especially if it's something that I enjoyed. Because we do work. I do work for Drew Estate. They pay the bills, but we're all at the office at HQ. We're all just cigar lovers. We smoke about everything. It doesn't matter the brand. Hey, if we like a cigar, we like a cigar. So of course, yeah, I'm going to tell you to light El Tigre up. Cigar of the
Okay.
year.
Yeah. Figured I would give you a choice. Like I said, I figured you were gonna pick this, but you know what? You could have thrown me a curveball and I would have been fine with it. But it's a cool
Well,
exercise
damn,
too.
yeah.
So
Yeah, actually, well, when you do smoke the acid beach, let me know which. Let me know. Next time when I'm in Corona, I'll definitely pick one up. Last time I was at Jeff Borshowitz, yeah, for in Claremont at Corona Cigar Lounge, I had the box press number 9, and that's like a Corona exclusive. That cigar right there. I'm just like a box press fiend head lizard, if you will. So I was
mhm.
like, man, in a 9 in a box press, that sounds ideal. It was really good.
I know
So
we're gonna get to talk more about this cigar here in a few minutes, but
yeah.
since you brought it up, like what is it about the box press that you like really enjoy? I've heard all sorts of theories on this from people who like box presses, but I'm interested to hear yours.
Again, man, this is like a disclaimer. I am not a savant aficionado. Shout out cigar aficionado. I'm not like a cigar coop. Those guys that, that really get into it.
Cigars, man, it's all good. Yeah, no worries.
But to me, I love it how I could just conversate with it. I could be in my hand. I feel like it feels right. Like I don't know.
Hmm.
I guess like since it's when it's circle. I don't know when it's when it's a regular cigar. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, a cigar in your hand is a cigar in your hand. But that box press, I just feel like conversational socially when I'm smoking it. It says easier, and of course the aerodynamic, right? Of when you do lighting, when you cut it and light it, feel like it's a more concentrated type of smoke that I get. I feel like I get bigger smoke.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but really it's the feeling. It's really just the feeling what I get from having the cigar, having it in my mouth. Ayo, pause.
Hmm.
But I feel like that's like exact. Like to me, it's just that feeling and like the aesthetic that I like when I'm smoking, especially socially at the lounges or at events and stuff like that. I get to just it's just like easier for
I
me
I
for some
think
reason.
I think that's I think that's what I mean I hear that quite often actually. It's just the way it feels in hand. The
Yeah,
way it feels in your hand is something that's really popular for folks. I mean, and as you know, and with properly made box press cigars, but there's they take some tobacco out, or it's not as heavily packed as some of the Parejos out there, and so the airflow is a lot better. So you get
better.
that, like you said, that aroma and that better draw and stuff like that. So yeah, totally. That totally makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I was just curious because, like I said, everyone has like their own little theory and stuff, and
No,
I get
yeah,
that a lot of.
for sure. Yeah, everyone has like their own reasonings. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, that's cool. For me, that is mine.
So we're gonna start off the tonight's major point, which is, of course, we're gonna talk a little bit about your background here. So without further
Okay.
ado, tonight's major point is brought to you by Gran Habano Cigars from the fertile lands of Honduras. George Rico and his family put together they're the very best vintages for you. Yes, you, the cigar smoker. From value-based hits like Corojo Number 5 to the award-winning 20th anniversary to special projects like Zulu Zulu, Gran Habano is about cultivating the best and making pinnacle cigars for the market. Culture, tradition, premium hand-coated Grand Bono cigars. So Javier, normally this is the time where I'd be like, where did it all begin? But actually, I was watching in an interview that you did, and something grabbed my attention, and I was gonna shout you out for it.
Oh,
You had
sick.
and it was very apropos. Uh, and I didn't know if it was stylistically a choice because of the El Tigre or if you're a fan or whatnot. But you were rocking on the Chi
Oh,
Town podcast. You were
podcast.
rocking
Yeah.
a Los Tigres hat,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. I caught a game when I was in the Dominican,
No
and so
kidding.
and like
That's awesome.
that's my team because that's the one time I've only seen it's the one game I've only seen down there. So I'm like,
Oh,
those are
yeah,
those are my
that's your team.
guys.
Those are your guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I actually wanted to see a game myself. Yeah, just straight up fan. First and foremost, they have a lot of great players that come from DR, but Licey and the capital, the capital, has always had a special place in my heart. And of course, the L. That's how my mother's dad, my grandpa, told me to write my L's. So when I saw it, I already like connected with it already. And then I was gonna go see a game, but then it got rained out that weekend I was there. So hopefully, when I go back, I get to go and finally see a game because, yeah, big baseball fan. I actually been loving it, like falling it back in love with it even now more in my 30s. Excuse me. So yeah, that's. I was about to wear it again, but I was just like, you know what? No, let me wear a new hat. I guess the people haven't seen me. But thank you for so much for watching that podcast. Yeah, it was super cool. Shout out to the Saitan Cigar podcast. Saitan Cigars.
Uh, yeah, I'm a as everyone knows here, I'm too. So, um, you know, did you play when you were younger, or was that something like you said you kind of you're now
Yeah,
in 30s? Did you?
I, yeah, played that basketball way more, but I always struggled hitting the ball in baseball. But when I would play, or when in younger years, like a little bit before her high school, um, yeah, like the leagues around the city that you'll play in. I was a second baseman, so quick arm, very agile and I keep an eye on the ball, but just hitting. I wasn't the worst hitter, but I just wasn't hitting it out the park. And then when I went out for the baseball team, I like got struck out twice, so I was like, these guys are never gonna pick me up. So I got a little discouraged there when I was younger. I wish I didn't though. But yeah, now I just like going to ballparks, and definitely the Marlins. They've been doing a little bit better this year, so I just been keeping a track on that for sure. Oh wait, did oh okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. They knocked the weather knocked my internet out. Like I said, I have a problem with, but totally okay. The show stays up, so that's what I was
Okay.
was actually messaging you.
Oh,
So,
okay.
um, so you were saying that you were saying you were mostly basketball when you were younger and everything.
Yeah, mostly basketball, but I did play second baseman as a kid growing up. So I played a little bit of baseball. Couldn't really hit the ball, or it wasn't a home run hitter like that. When I tried out for the high school team, just got struck out. So I was like, man, I'm never really gonna get a place in this team here. Like some of the guys that would hit the ball or whatever. But yeah, I've been really getting back into it. The Marlins have been having a good season. I think we're like right at the 500. We've been doing better there. I also like spending time in Nicaragua, and I got to see some of the like the inner city had a tournament. My mom, is a big fan of Esteli, of course, because that's where she's from. So like when I was over there for about that month time during the winter break, I really got locked in with her and just like spending quality time with my mother watching baseball. It's really like reinvigorated that passion that I had for the game. And yeah, like I wanted to go to did you hear that part about like wanting to go to Lycée, but then it got rained out. But yeah, so I played a little
Yeah.
bit, but now I wasn't ranked or anything.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I grew up with the game. My father kind of instilled it in us and everything. And so, I never did anything with it. Other words, either like I didn't play in college or anything like that either. So,
Yeah.
but it's as I tell people all the time, it's the greatest game in the world. So,
It
Um,
is. It is. And my father did too. My dad played, and we used to watch him play, like kind of like in this adult league too, with it, like him and my uncles that would smash a couple beers and hit a couple balls. Like, so I was always around baseball, and it's always been it always connects me to my family, and I think, for Latino culture, baseball is like the number one sport. Now in the new age, a little bit more soccer, football has gotten in there. Definitely, more cultural relevance, I would say, but baseball is still, top dog, I feel like. And it's
yeah.
a good family sport, right? Everyone could watch it.
Yeah, and it's like a family event too. Like when you go to professional
Yeah.
games and stuff, like
Yeah.
they've really made it an experience. And I think like for all the people who are out there like, oh, baseball's so boring, there's nothing to do, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, like we'll get an argue all day about that. But I'm like, if you go to a Major League Baseball game and you're like your family doesn't have fun, you're not fun people.
Yeah.
Like they
That,
have everything. They have something for anyone. If you don't want to sit and watch 9 innings of baseball, there's plenty to do. Like
there's so
there's
much to
plenty
do.
to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And that's also gotten me into it too. I've been like bobblehead chasing at the Marlins games. So that's been making me go out to the stadium. And the last time or last year, I brought my mom and my dad to the game with us, with my sister. Me and my sister went to the home opener of the Marlins this year. So it's just been fun. It's just fun to go. Like I think like people that say that baseball is boring, go watch it live. If you're still not jamming, it's still not your thing, and you didn't try the challenge of nine innings, nine hot dogs, or smash a couple
Yeah,
beers
I
down.
mean,
Like
something.
then
Yeah.
I don't know. Then yeah, maybe it's just not your thing. But yeah, definitely got to go watch it live. I feel like I don't know. You feel more a part of the game. You're more interested in it. You start like
Mhm.
noticing who's who and on the teams and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah,
Absolutely. So take us. So this is the where I will kind of go back and everything. So you mentioned how like your father kind of instilled in you baseball and stuff like that. Like talk to us
Mhm.
about how you grew up. Were cigars, your family? Did people was it a part of your family's lives? Were you aware of cigars at a young age? Like walk us through that.
So of course, now looking back, that there was small little raindrops, there was drops throughout there, but at the time I never really connected them. But to answer the question a little bit directly, my grandpa Largaespada, on my dad's side, he would always smoke pipe tobacco everywhere. On the porch, you're watching us play a little bit. When we moved fairly at a young age. I think I was in like about third grade or going to first grade, one of those two. We moved down here to Miami, and we stayed with him in his house. And yeah, so with my cousins too, that like we're first meeting each other, so we're running around playing in the yard or whatever, and he'll just like smoke his pipe tobacco, and it's always a fond memory, about that, about him doing that, the ritual of it, how cool he did look while he while he was doing it as well.
Right?
So other than that, really with him, and then of course when we got our own house, a little bit of separation happened there, and then he moved back to Nicaragua to spend the rest of his years. So other than that, but then now looking back, like I was saying in the beginning, my mom's family, of course, from Esteli, my godfather told me, he shared this story because I actually took him to the Gran Fabrica. He shared the story how he would go at a young age. At a young age is one of the younger jobs that you could, or one of the jobs that you could get at a young age, way back in the 80s, to date my godfather. But he would basically pick the leaves from the, from the farms. He'll pick the leaves from the farms, and then he'll collect them. And then 2 years ago, when I went down there to Esteli, my other aunt, she shared this story of how she would devein the tobaccos, like how, and them being in Esteli, right, tobacco and all that stuff, it wasn't as prominent as it is now, but it was growing, right? It was growing
Hmm.
in their come up as they were growing up too, or they were starting their professional careers. So I didn't know that, when I was 16, 18, 20. But it's awesome that, again, Drew Estate has connected me connecting me back to that, right? And having them
Mm-hmm.
look back at their childhood and then share these stories with me, because if I wasn't in tobacco, I would have never known that about my,
Yeah.
about my godfather or my aunt. So like that's been awesome too, though, to be honest.
It it's funny because like like you're talking about like growing up like it wasn't necessarily a part of forefront a part of your memory or part of your life, but and to them they were just probably they were just doing a job, or your grandfather was just smoking pipe tobacco and because he liked it, right? And but as we all get into this, right, and have gotten more and more into it and understanding and everything, there's just they're 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 very much a part of your aunt in particular is very much a part of every cigar story.
All
You
right.
know, you guys do the tour league, think of that all the time when you hear about the individual people along the way, the 300 hands that they talk about that
Yeah.
that touch the tobacco and everything. It brings the thing in a whole new perspective, and that's really cool that you get to share that with. Is she still with us? Is your aunt still with us?
Yeah. My
Okay.
tia Daisy, my aunt. I don't know why, like, the translating right now is costing me. But yeah, my aunt Daisy, yeah, she's still with us. Yeah, I don't think she's in Nicaragua. I think she's back now in California looking over her grandchildren. But yeah, like that has been a treat. And the 300 hands is it's a real thing, right? Like, let's talk about well, just a little touch on it on El Tigre with the Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, right? That goes from Ecuador, and they made that wrapper, and then it goes to Nicaragua, which then gets rolled from the puncheros and the roleros, and then it gets boxed and then or labeled and then boxed, and then goes to you, and there's many other process of that, or steps to that process that it is, fermenting it and all that stuff is all a part of it. And that's really where I fell in love with cigar make. I think I fell in love more with cigar making before I fell in love with cigar smoking, to be quite honest with you. I would enjoy smoking, but really like the cigar making and seeing it firsthand to my people in Nicaragua, from my mother's hometown, Esteli, that it really hit a chord to me that first time I was there at the Gran Fabrica, that I was like, wow, I could, if my parents never moved, or, if my parents never met, you could argue I would never be born. But, just for this positioning, like it's a bit surreal of like, man, I could have worked at Drew Estate, but over there in Nicaragua. I could have been
Right.
rolling the cigars, or packaging, or working alongside Marlin from quality control, or Rubio, the head of the factory. Like I could have very much that could have been me there as well. So it's always like an extra boost of energy, when I'm not feeling it, or when I'm not, wanting to work hard. I got to make sure I secure those jobs for my for basically, yeah, for lack of a better term, my brothers and sisters back in Esteli, Nicaragua. Like I gotta go hard for them.
Yeah, that's just goes to show you how small the world is, right?
Yeah.
Um, and how like yeah, simple twist of faith can kind of get things interchanged and stuff like you were talking about. What so what was kind of the things that led you to your path of Drew Estate? Like what got you into cigars as an adult? Was this an early 20s thing for you, like or late teens for you that you started smoking, or like when was that first cigar moment for you?
My first cigar moment was at 27. I was basically not drinking at the time, and I had my godmother come in town. We went to it's a popular spot, actually. That's what El Tita de Bronze is in Little Havana, Little Havana in Calle Ocho, the 8th Street, which is a very popular place in Miami, very heavy
Oh
on a
yeah.
Cuban culture. Cubans are king when it comes to cigars. And there was a guy out, I didn't even walk into the humidor. I got stopped before I went to the humidor because there was a guy there
Mhm.
who was rolling, who was basically placing, at the time I didn't know, but placing the wrapper on the cigar. And I was like, you know what? Let me try that. Let me try it. And I got 3 that day. I smoked. It was me and my cousin. Of course, who was of age, and we just didn't want to drink. Or I think he was my cousin was drinking, but I wasn't drinking, and I was just smoking a cigar. And then after that, I really didn't really pay it any mind until about, yeah, until my first first couple of days at Drew Estate. Yeah, when that this child and true story, when I walked in and I saw Herrera Esteli, not knowing who our master blender, the genius Willie Herrera, is behind that brand, the most Cubanist cigar, right? But Herrera is my mom's maiden name. Esteli is where she's from. I was shook and shocked when I saw that sign. I was like, what the heck is going on? And then they told me about the Gran Fabrica and then Cigar Safari. I started looking up that and videos of that. And then really the best thing would also like made me like have this notion that I have now of like, I think cigars is the best social thing that you can do, with buddies. Not only is it better than being at a loud club where the music's blasting. I think there's a time and place for that, right when you like kind of get 21, you're able to get it, you get access to that door, right? And sometimes that's for people and sometimes that's not, or there's other places too that or pool lounges and stuff like that. But I feel like cigars, you really get that conversations, that those deep, meaningful conversations. And I've always been more lenient to that. I don't like talking just to talk. I like to talk meaningful conversations. So one time, or I think that first week or so, my dad was still here with me and living in the States with me here, because now he's retired. We retired my parents about 5 years ago. Now they live in Nicaragua. But he was here, and I brought home actually Pappy Van Winkle. Like, I saw a humidor. I asked, "Hey, can I bring a couple? Can I bring a couple cigars home?" They're like, "Yeah, of course, man. Hey, you should try it. You work here now, And I was just like, okay, because I was still feeling because I started off as a temp, so I was very much still feeling like this is temporary. I don't know, Of course, I figured, they'll be stupid not to hire me, but of course, right, moving with confidence. But I also was, as I always do, I didn't want to just like assume that I could just take. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, we
Keep it
we came.
classy, you know?
Yeah, keep it classy. Yeah, yeah. So I came back home. We went to the backyard. We lit ourselves some cigars. And also my dad was getting into that too, because for health reasons, he's also dropped drinking, right? And one could argue that now you're going to stop drinking, now you're going to start smoking. But we're not here to debate that. What we're here to talk about is that me and my dad got to smoke those Pappy Van Winkles out in the back, and we got to really share deep conversations and meaningful stories about my family, about his upbringing, how much my grandpa was or was not there, to different little gossip stories about certain relationships or some of the family dynamics. So that's what also got me like with it, like, dang, I got to speak. They really like brought it down where it wasn't father speaking to son. It was like a man speaking to a man. And that right there is really what sold me to smoking cigars. And really after that, like, I would bring another one home, like the next day, and then we'll talk more, and then I'll bring a different one home, until I started finding out his favorites, right? When he started telling me, "Hey man, could you bring the tobacs?" And I was like, "All right, I got you." But
Nice.
yeah, but that's really what got the ball rolling there, or like how I started smoking cigars.
That's awesome. There's so much to unpack there. I will say this about the
Yeah,
whole give up drinking and then smoking thing and everything. Like, my dad
yeah.
always said, "Listen, you can never trust a man without a vice." So
That's so true,
so
man. Yeah, yeah, that's good. I'm gonna keep that one. I'm gonna keep that one because, yeah, you gotta have a vice, some way, form, and everything, of course, in
cool.
moderation and control, but like everything has limits. That's something my dad always says. But yeah, no, for sure.
But how cool is it that you got to discover cigars alongside your dad, and then at the same time, like, enter into this new relationship, like you said, with him. Like, before it was like father and son. It'll always be father and son too. But like,
Right. Yeah.
I remember the first conversation that I mean, I still remember the first conversation that I had with my dad, where I wasn't just his son. I was also a
Right.
fellow man too. And it's like that's a watershed moment, man. That's something you're gonna remember for the rest of your life. And that's cool that you got to share it over a cigar. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, then of course, yeah, right. And then it's like Drew Estate. Okay, again, Drew Estate putting in their heads, connecting it to my life, right? Because that was another moment there, and like how you said, I'm gonna remember that memory forever. And I think that's something that every man could relate to when they finally had that conversation or that moment where it was man to man, where like now you're in the you're in the man league now, or the club. You get to sit down at the
Right.
table. You're not a young pup anymore. You graduated in a sense. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's good that I get to share that memory with my dad, that I'll get to remember forever, and also the new memories that we've made too. When now I go back and smoke with him, and I got him the early access, and I told him, hey, I can't tell you about this right now, but I don't want you to smoke this one with the red label. I don't want you to smoke it. I want you to smoke it when this show comes out. And I sent them the link to early access, and then as it got revealed, and I said, yeah, I got to name that cigar. So like even that, and how he's always told me, and he believed and Drew Estate too. As much as I did, I saw a future and opportunity there. At the time too, he said like, man, he started off as a dishwasher, and that at his company, and he became like a manager. I forget what position exactly, but he was a manager. He was part of like the the executive team by the end of his
Hmm.
tenure there with that company, and he was kind of like telling me one day, like, man, I don't think that happens anymore. I don't think these companies, especially after COVID, right? I don't think these companies are trying to nurture homegrown talent, as Anfon says, homegrown talent, that they're trying to nurture these people, or they see talent in someone, and they're willing to grow. He's like, I think that retired when I did, but look at Drew Estate. We get to be, like, and I get to be someone that says that, and that they really did pull me up and bring me up. That people grow into the conversations that you allow them to have, and I got to be a part of some great conversations throughout these last couple of years. So it's been a treat, man. I've been loving every moment of it.
That's awesome, man. Like, so, like, kind of seeing like where you were when you first started, and then like to have that moment, like you said, with the early access and stuff. Like, what was your dad's response to that when you like, hey, I named that cigar, or that the show you just watched was I had a big part of that.
Right. My dad has been in his later years, and I don't know if it's a man thing, because also Glenn, our fearless leader, he also is a bit of a crier. Um, so he started tearing up, while I was on the phone with him, and like saying like, man, like that he was, of course, those words that every son wants to hear, that he's proud of me. He started calling me Tigre, like, dang, what a great name, like, and another one of his famous sayings, back to the baseball thing, is swinging that bat. You got to keep swinging that bat. Just swing that bat. Maybe it's a single, maybe it's a double, but sometimes you're gonna hit a home run. And then, yeah, I feel like I hit a home run there. so, um, so that was great too. Yeah, and I got to, and yeah, I got to share that moment with him on the phone. I'm gonna see him hopefully by and the end of this month too. So maybe we get to talk about that a little bit more, and maybe cry like real men in front of each other.
Over a cigar too. So I mean
And over a cigar. Yeah, yeah,
that'll
yeah.
make the moment perfect. So
Exactly. Yeah.
let's talk about the story of the cigar. So let's take it back just a little bit. I know this was a little
Yeah.
bit before your time at Drew Estate, but like the
Yeah.
Undercrown story is one kind of, I think, worth telling. And this is something that I really appreciated at last year's PCA was the Tour de Liga, and that was that was telling the Liga story, and that was
Yeah.
something that, like, I of course knew, and I was thinking as I was going through, I was like, this is really neat because, man, I learned this story a long time ago, but it's a whole new flock of smokers. There's a whole new generation of people that
Exactly.
are coming and don't really understand this. And I love that you guys did that first, and then you're immediately following it up with this kind of reemphasis on the undercrown.
Yeah. Down with the
This
crown.
chapter of Drew Estate, which we'll get into.
Of
So,
course.
just from your part, before we get to talking about El Tigre, like I said, like what what do you identify most with, or what speaks to you the most about the Undercrown story itself?
I mean, born on the factory floor. I mean, that's the biggest tagline. But the reason why, like going back to the cigar making process and the people that work hard and that we've provided opportunities with, like working at Drew Estate is almost working at Google in Silicon Valley, down in Nicaragua and Esteli, Nicaragua, and just knowing that and how we've impacted the culture and the community there. There used to not be a road to get to the Grand Fabricant. We've made that, but then we've wouldn't have the cigar if it wasn't for them though, right? Either, right?
Hmm.
Like, yeah, we so then we it get flips on its head, as well. And I think what was it, the fourth? I think it was Undercrown 10's birthday, where they turned 16 where it was 6 years. 6 years, yeah, like, it turned six, the UC10. But yeah, like back to that, and like even like the marketing for it, right? Like you had Yesenia, who is one of the most accomplished women in tobacco and cigar making history. She's been with Drew Estate for 28 years. We've been open for 30. She's been a part of the blending sessions. She knows a good cigar by the smell of it, how it looks. She's that experienced in the game, with Rubio. Basically making controlling the whole the factory, the factory and what it is. Of course, Henry with Subculture Studios and doing stuff. So like all that right there has empowered the factory, as to the born on the factory floor. And I think it's such a cool story, right? Liga was such a major hit that when it came out, there wasn't enough Liga that we could sell, and then their factory workers were smoking through our Liga inventory, and then there was this beautiful opportunity where I feel like Drew Estate always does a good job with, is seeing playing into what's happening at the moment and making a cultural impact with that. And boom, we have Undercrown, right? Where we've now made this complete, the salute, the tipping of the hat to our factory workers who basically made this cigar, and now it's one of our top brands in the Drew Estate portfolio. So I think that story to me is always like drew me in. I was a big Connecticut guy, so I was smoking through the shades, and then there was one month I did an event in Charlotte, and I started this Undercrown 10 heavy, and then now, yeah, of course, when we went to, or when we started finalizing the blend and knowing what house or umbrella it was going to go into, I was super excited that El Tigre gets is undercrown.
Yeah. So let's talk about this project that I'm smoking through, and I'm like almost to the halfway point. Man, it's such a enjoyable smoking, but it's also so different
Yeah.
than the Maduro, and it's so different than the shade. And then, I know
Hmm.
the ground around it in a while, but that it's an even different facet from that. So like if you guys ever brought the sun grown back, by the way, with that, but if you ever did, like you would
Me
still have
too.
these really unique footholds in under this umbrella like you were talking about. So let's talk about the story, the the El Tigre. What you guys started playing with the tobacco with the release of Dominicana last year.
Hmm.
But this is a project going back for a couple of years now, obviously trying to figure it out and how this was going to be done and everything. But walk us through, on your side from where your point of view, how the El Tigre was born.
So it was born in many different ways, right? Of course, we had this hit with Deadwood Dominicana, right? And we wanted to do another Dominican expression. We didn't want and actually the label has it on the Drew Dominicana, the guarantee seal there on the Deadwood Dominicana. So we just didn't want to do one and done. Drew Estate has never been about that. We're about making brands, and brands that last long and that stand the test of time. Sometimes we get into the exclusives and the limiteds, and of course we have our Liga Unico series that is awesome, and I love those cigars too. But we really develop brands, so we wanted something else to go alongside that. The blending team, I mean, well, really, Willie Herrera and in conjunction with the brand team, um, started letting us know that they're playing a little bit more with Dominican, tobacco. And then now that we have a couple of these samples, we got started to smoking them. There was a clear winner of those samples, and then we started seeing where it would fit and where would it go. Undercrown 2 was a brand that it's always been great for us, one of our top brands, like I said, but we wanted to do another push for it because with El Tigre, and I've even seen it now with people smoking El Tigre and be like, man, actually never had the UC10. I never had the Undercrown 10. I got to go try that now, right? It's like when I guess like if it was a singer or a musician, a hit song, then wants to listen back to other songs. Okay, maybe they have something else. And this is super unique too, that I feel like it's Undercrown because it is Undercrown because it it still embodies like the factory and like being that underdog and starting something new and being unmistakably different from everything else in our portfolio. So then we needed a name for it, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I recently just came back from a trip to DR. I showed everyone because there's another version of the Lycée hat with the lion holding the L, and I was just like El Tigre, and really again it connected with Pedro Gomez's event cigar Tuani, where Tuani were basically educating and letting people know that this word Tuani is used as, yo, that's cool, that's dope in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that with El Tigre, of like letting people know or educating like people that El Tigre and DR is like bro, is like brother, is like, bruh,
Mm-hmm.
son, like all these different terms that we've used across America, right? Or for the Latin speaking community too, of like hermano, like tigre is something that it resonates with the Dominican culture, and just being a little bit a part of that, I figured it would be the best name for it. So that's kind of how El Tigre was born too, and where we get this new
That's
app.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was a good day at the office. I also didn't want to be super excited or super hyped. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Super excited that it that it's stuck, right? Because of course there's copyright and all that jazz that happens with it.
Yeah, of course.
We need it, the legal tape that you have to be mindful for. So that it came across the finish line, that when I saw you at PCA, or the booth is kind of covered and saying El Tigre everywhere, that I had something a little to do with it. I don't take I don't want to take too much credit either, because of course Willie and the brand team did an exceptional job with the cigar as well. I was just there to catch the ball, when they needed a first down, like to get it over the hump there, and the blend seemed to be winning, and I can't be prouder of the cigar. If I was Dominican, that would have been like an ultimate win. But I love it. I love it though too, just as much as because right, I'm Nicaragüense, seeing that this company has very much developed and been a big resource to the community, to the my people's community in Esteli, Nicaragua, to seeing and then that. But I wasn't there when JD was sleeping on the factory floor, and now we have this new thing of Drew Dominicana, and one of the first couple of brands. Well, we started off with Deadwood Dominicana, of course, that I got to be a part of. But this one here too, you know, a little bit more of the traditional, having more Dominican forward filler in there, and something unique to our portfolio that it doesn't, you know, we don't really have. It doesn't. Because I don't know what people would say tastes like a Drew Estate cigar. You know, what does that mean? Do you mean it tastes like a Deadwood? You mean it tastes like a tobacco and acid? Well, no, I think it tastes more like a Liga, right? You know, so it's like, what does that really mean? Because those are two different type of, you know, tasting profiles. So
I
yeah,
well, I think that's. I mean, I think it's. I mean, timing everything, and I think it's like you said, like there are many pieces and many parts, and a lot of people that had a greater impact on the creation of the cigar in its part. I mean, the name's the name. You can always you always have that.
yeah,
That's a cool part of the story that you get to hang your hat on, so to speak. Is just like, hey, I was there for that moment, and yeah, I mean, anyone could have come up with a name, but I did. And so like but like we were talking earlier about in the show too, like with your tia, with your aunt, you know, she was part of the 300 hands. I mean, so are you,
right,
you know, so I don't
yeah.
think it needs to be, I think you can still be humble, of course, and gracious, but you know, you're still a part of that cool story. And I mean, shoot, man, I mean, I think anyone who smokes cigars, I mean, is, you know, dreaming about the same moment that you had the opportunity to do, which is cool. As far
Right.
as like describing like where this kind of fits in, I think I've come around to this. I've actually been asked this before. I used to work retail too, so it kind of really
Okay.
helps. Is like the non-traditional segment is the non-traditional segment, but like there's Liga and then there's Undercrown, and like what I would always say is that Undercrown was a little bit more of a rustic version of Liga Prival. And I think that that is why Tigre fits really well into the Undercrown line, because this is an even more rustic version of Undercrown.
Yeah.
It really has, it's gritty. It has this, you know, it packs a punch to it. It has a lot more, you know, no one would ever characterize as the Undercrown or the Undercrown Maduro as light. I mean, let's be clear about that. But this one has more zip to it. There's a lot more bite and spice that I think that that kind of really does wonders on the palate. I've been really enjoying the cigar. This is the third one that I've had. All Toros. I haven't had any of the other sizes. I'm really excited to try the other sizes because I know
Yeah.
it's going to do a lot of different things in those different vitolas. So,
Definitely.
but this one is probably is you know it's going to because it's set for a couple of weeks too. So the tobaccos have kind of settled, especially after being transported from place to place to place and everything.
Yeah.
Tobaccos, cigars are a living, breathing thing. I could try to remind people of that, but this one is smoking beautifully, and it's thus far been my most enjoyable experience. I've enjoyed the other ones too as well, but definitely enjoying this third one more. And it's not just because of the great conversation, but I think it's fantastic, and I think you guys have really done a cool um, addition to the Undercrown portfolio, but also used it as a great gateway into this new era of Drew Estate, which we have to talk about now. You
Yeah.
know, there's going to be a new factory, so this will be the second
Yeah.
factory ever from Drew Estate, and it's not going to be in Nicaragua. It's going to be in the Dominican Republic. So, what can you tell us about that, and what's going on there, and how far the project been?
Okay, there's a couple things I could say and a couple things I can't. One thing I would say, this new era of Drew Estate is we've coined it in the office the Javiera. So we're in the midst of the Javiera, you know.
That's awesome.
It's my era right now. No, it's full of hoopla, but yeah, what I can say is that we are in there. We're at the free trade zone. Very popular. If you guys have probably visited other factories, you know, Swisher Sweets have you know, has always been over there. So we get to be closer to Big Brother. Salute. But also La Turan is over there. And I think is it. I don't think LFD. I think there's someone else that's like a 2 blocks up from us, from our factory that we have there. We're still in production. We're still, well, like production as far as like getting it, you know, construction of the
Getting it up and
of
running. Yeah.
getting it up and running. Of course, DR is legendary and known for their tobaccos, so the talent pool there is nothing short. There's not slim pickings over there of people that know about tobacco and what to do there. So we're going through that hiring process as well. Excuse me. Of course, we also do have our farm that isn't too far from the factory as well. That their growing season, or I think right now, or we're starting about seeding, or like, yeah, because the crops now have gone. I don't know if I could say too much about that actually, because that might hint to something that I can't. I don't want to hint at nothing.
It's all good. It's
Um,
all good.
but
So
uh,
you're, I
but
mean,
but
but that you guys are growing tobacco. That's a new thing for Drew Estate. You guys have never grown
yeah,
your own tobacco, so this is
right.
completely different thing too. So I mean, super exciting stuff there.
No, yeah, and that's what it's like it's a refresher for all of us, right? Me and really for the heads, like the heads of the snake, meaning Willie Herrera and JD. Now they get these a new pantry unlocked of a bunch of Dominican tobacco that they get to play with, our own tobacco that we get to play with, see how that works, see how that feels after years of ferment. They've already had crops there and stuff have come to Nicaragua that we have played with, but then getting it directly from there and seeing what that does and blends that we could play with. And it's a really good partner and a good farmer that we have of who we ended up going with, in that partnership with the farm and our farm there. So it's legendary. Um, we have a trusted partner there. I'm excited to try those new blends. We actually got to smoke a little bit of a sample of one, and my God, that one was such a banger. I hoping, and we're gonna hope that we could do something similar to that blend that we had to hit the market maybe in the next year or so. But yeah, it's been awesome to be part of this new era of Drew Estate, where we're going from, we're expanding, we're growing, right? I'm in a company that's growing, that the future is looking bright. We celebrated our 30 years. This is solidifies the next 30 for us. Drew Estate has never done anything half-ass. We never done anything with ill intent. We've always been about of improving and involving and immersing ourselves into culture and the culture that we go and where we're at. Also, always doing it in Drew Estate style, because we have our own unique style to how we do things.
Yeah.
So I think I think that's the biggest thing that I'm excited about. That, and then I get to be alongside, not only my colleagues that I work through in the day by day, but the creative, and seeing JD basically, and in twofolds, and I think we'll get to the other one, like with Jay Sann Son, but with this, seeing that hit that reigniting flame, or he probably wouldn't like me saying that, but like this newfound focus that he has, and seeing him do basically part two, but it's not so much part two, but him using his knowledge of what we've done, in Nicaragua and Esteli, and how we're going to do that here. I think any time that I get to, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel the same throughout the years of talking to Jonathan, seeing JD, of like how cool of a guy he is and how creative he is. To me, that has always been like my biggest thing to work alongside him, and as like as a colleague. And real quick, back to naming the cigar, right? Like my dad was saying how like there's not companies like that, but look at that. This company, this goes to show the culture that we have at Drew Estate. They listen to the kid who used to go run and get them coffee, who there are plenty
Hmm.
more people that are experienced in tobacco, into naming brands, into launching successful brands with or without Drew Estate in that meeting. But I got taken serious. It wasn't like, oh, we're not going to use that name because Javier said it. We'll call it the Tigre and not El Tigre. Like they fell in love with it.
Yeah.
They ran with it too. So sorry, it just reminded me of that, and I wanted to make sure I said that because it's so true. You know, like, and JD has said that to me, like, not said that to me like in a sense of not in those words, but basically said like, "You're El Tigre. You named this cigar. You know, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big thing that you got to do that,
Yeah.
and a couple other things privately that really, like, you know, I appreciate the hell out of him, and you know, anything he needs, he could call me.
Well, I mean, Drew Estate is full of those stories, and yeah, like you were
Yeah,
saying, like, JD is there. It's this face on the mountain, right? It's the mountain,
right.
the Mount Rushmore kind of thing, and he's the founder, the head, this kind of lighthouse for the industry in a lot of ways, obviously specifically for the company too. And then you were talking about the other relationships that you guys are building, like you're partnering with Manuel Peralta in the Dominican, who, like, I mean, he's the guy.
He's
If
the
you're gonna
guy.
grow
Yeah, yeah,
tobacco,
yeah.
I mean, that he's the JD equivalent to growing
But
tobacco, so like,
okay,
but
good.
there's
Yeah,
that,
Peralta. I wasn't
but
sure if we
there's
announced that or not. But yes, Peralta. Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. Dude, that guy is so
uh
freaking awesome. He's so sick. Man, when I got to talk to him, I asked him one simple question, and he started telling me so much stuff about the tobacco making process of it, that one, I knew he was, well, of course, right? Like, back to Drew Estate doing it the right way. Of course, he was the right fit. Because he fits us. He fits that, like, willing to that giving personality and persona that I think
mhm.
that most of us have, yeah, at Drew Estate. But it was so awesome. He was telling me about, like, how the mountains, the weather plays. I have this video that my coworkers make fun of me, where I was like, I was with a famous tobacco farmer, and he told me that no 2 days are the same on the field. But that's exactly what he told me, because he's like, it could be super hot, or the sun is hitting the tobacco harder one day or not, because there's not clouds in the air. You know, sometimes there's holes in the curing barn. There's holes in the ground, because sometimes they have to light some fire. They have to get some fire in there to build up some humidity. If not, then the tobacco is not going to get the humidity that it needs. You know how you can never rush it. The tobacco is going to tell you when it's ready. And I was just blown away. There's many other things that I got on video too. But yeah, that
That's cool.
Peralta, such an awesome man and an awesome dude, and I can't wait to learn more from him too.
Yeah. This one of the stories I've heard about him is fantastic. He's like the only person in his town that has two refrigerators, and one of them's full of tobacco seeds. 'Cause he's always like experimenting. He's always like doing stuff with it. So, like, I
Yeah,
mean, but like we were saying, like, there's so many things that have come full circle. We talked about Willie too. So your first cigar experience
yeah,
was at LT and the Bronze, and that's where he came from. And you're part of the story. One of the things that I've absolutely loved about JD is that, like, he recognizes greatness, and he gets people like Willie and Manuel Peralta, and he brings them into the fold. But he's also
yeah.
great at recognizing greatness and move them up. Like, Pedro's a part of that story. Henry's a part of that story. You're a part of that story.
Yep.
And there's a belief, and there's a belief. I think I, I don't know him as well as some of my other colleagues in media, but from everything that I do know about him, that I think he really cherishes and cultivates that fact that Drew Estate is a brand of people, and he's about bringing people from that start with him and bringing them as much as possible. And people move on, some stay, some stick around, and some continue to move up and rise through the ranks. And
Yeah, no.
I think he does everything he can to support those folks, and it's great because, like your dad said, that doesn't happen a lot of
Yeah.
places, inside and outside of cigars. It
Right.
just isn't.
Yeah, you mentioned, of course, Foundation, Nick. Drew Estate. He came from Drew Estate, is now started
Hmm.
a Foundation, and I freaking love that Tabernacle cigar that they have over there. We actually got to try some with him, actually. So that was a treat, and then learning that too, and seeing how, right, how we have cultivated and nurtured talent. You know, you have Joe Grow over at Cigars, Wine and Spirits now, and he's doing his thing, and it's always love that we see him. Jack Heyer and Thomas, you know, at Zeno and Camacho, like, you know, those guys are always family, and we love seeing them. I love it. I get to see them, and they're guys that I could always talk to too, which has been good. Which has been good for me and JD too. Like what you said is an absolute fact. He used to. I didn't know at the time too. I just thought that, you know, maybe this guy was buying some time, but I guess yeah, he wasn't like waiting for his car valet or anything. But like, he would talk to me before he would leave the office when I was at the front desk, you know, asking me just random questions, you know, like either about like my life or like, hey, what do I think about this restaurant? Or hey, have you tried out this bar? Or you know, he'll show me an ad in the cigar snob and say, hey, what do you think about this? And you know, I was just answering truthfully, and I didn't know at the time. Um, he told me to stay patient, to, you know, that there's something coming for me. I thought, when I first heard it, I came home super excited. But the third time he told me, I said, "Man, this guy, nothing ever happening here, man. I need to brush up that Indeed LinkedIn page. I need to start doing something because I'm not sure if it's gonna happen." But then it all came to fruition, and I was rewarded for my patience and my loyalty, and that right there too. You know, like what was another thing. Me, Pedro, and with Henry have had great conversations about that too. You know, I talked to Henry and said, "Hey, man, you know, like I want to be here for a long time. You know, as long as they'll have me here. You know, so I want to learn more. I want to be a part more. If I could do anything to help you or to help the people that work at Subculture Studio, let me know." And we've been working great together. We actually have this a couple projects that we have that I'm super excited for. One of them that I think is going to be super cool. But yeah, like JD has always been that person, and I'm happy and honored to be. I mean, yeah, putting me in the in that name group with Pedro and Henry, I'm good with that. You know, I'm good with that. Pedro was my superhero, you know, when I was at the desk and I would see him and where he was going, and he was doing events and he was talking to people, and you know, man, he's like he's like a celebrity, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I looked up to him, and he told me too. He was like, "Hey, you need to start going. You should come out to events. You know, you need to tell people." Or me even doing events with him, he was like, "You need to pull down more that you're Nicaraguense." I was like, "Yeah, but like I grew up here. You know, like is that weird?" He said, "Man," and you know, Pedro's very colorful with his words. So
Yes.
he was like, "Man, fuck that." He's like, "Man, you're Nicaraguense. You know, that's something that not a lot of people could say." And your company is based and has empowered and has done so much for Nicaraguenses and for Nicaragua with as far as tobacco goes. Like you need to tell people that you need to show people that nobody else has that story in your perspective. That's unique, you know. And I was like, dang, that was the ultimate cosign, because someone from Nicaragua, someone that was in the factory, that started at the factory, is telling me that I could do that. Then I was balls to the
Yeah.
walls. I was ready to go and rock and roll. So I'm super appreciative of having those like big brothers that are leading me, you know, and they've done it, and you know, seeing that,
That's
you know, had helping me and grow, you know, right? Like and I've grown a
yeah.
lot in this company.
When you and I were talking after we did the presentation from Willie and Izzy at the booth this year, and we were talking about like we're talking about the show, and I said, yeah, I've had Pedro on several times. I could talk to Pedro every day of the week, and I wouldn't get sick of it. He has. You're right. I love that. I love his colorful language. Not just the swearing, because I can swear with the best of them too, but also
Yeah.
just the profoundness of his words
Yeah.
too. Like they're you know, he's younger than me. You both are younger than me, but you know, in y'all's young life, in his young life, he's lived so much of it.
Yeah, he has.
And in that way I kind of look up, and in that way I look up to him because he has lived so much life in the fewer years that he has than mine. And again, it's just Drew Estate has given him that opportunity to do that, and he's taken full advantage of it, and then some, and been a huge ambassador for you guys, and it's beautiful, and
Yeah,
it's great that you get to be a part of it. So
he spoke in front of Congress on behalf of Drew Estate. Like,
yeah,
like, man, like this kid from Esteli, who, not now lives in America. He's like the dream. He's like the dream. For people in Esteli, and I love that. And he does. He says some stuff to me sometimes that I'm like, wow, like I need a moment with that, because it was so deep
yeah.
and so profound, and he's awesome. Yeah, and he's such a great ambassador, such a great human being too. He's always on 10. I've never seen him, down on his dumps or anything like that. He's happy and loves life. It's just like how I am, in a different way. And I think that's what's beautiful about it. And working alongside him is my favorite thing. When they're like, you get Tour de Liga, I did it with Pedro, and I was like, yes, that's exactly who I want to be next to, right? And I have the Smoke Notes event too that I'm gonna be with him, and I was like, great, I get to spend the day with my favorite person. Don't tempt me, like done.
It was one of my favorite questions. It was a question I asked him before the show, we were waiting in the green room, and I hadn't gone live yet, and oh man, I fucking kick myself every time I see him because I'm like, it was so great because it was raw, genuine, and like totally off the cuff. I said, "Hey Pedro, when's the last time you had a bad day?" And like without missing a beat, he just named a date, and I said. I said, "What happened?" And he said, "Oh man, I totally just made that shit up. I haven't had a bad day, and I haven't had a bad day since I can remember. So I just said a day that was a long time ago." And I was, but it was like without like hesitation, just snapped off a date that was like random, it was like July 7th on 1994, and I was just like,
Yeah, yeah.
"What?" Like, I don't, I haven't had a bad day in a long time. I don't know, like,
Dude,
just
that's so awesome.
and I was like, God damn it, I wish I had that on tape. It was so fucking great.
I'm
And
gonna
because
use
I
that
was like, we
soon.
can't redo that. Like, you can't even say, "Hey,
Yeah,
fake it
yeah.
next time. Let's do it again." It's just like a moment for me, and it's a memory that
That's
I have.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Like,
But
yeah, June 7th, 1994 was my last bad day.
yeah, Mouse Bad Day I remember having. Yeah, it's exactly what happened. Um, so it was cloudy outside. I don't know. It was fine. Anyway,
Yeah.
but the last question before we go into our fun segments and for the evening. This conversation's been great, Javier. Thank you so much for your time tonight. But we
No,
can't
man.
let you
Thank you.
we can't go into our fun segments and conclude the evening without talking about part of the new era, this collaboration, and with JD and this new J Sann Son. I
Yeah.
won't even call it a cigar store. It's a cigar experience going to be that's being developed there in Wynwood. And of course, Drew Estate's part of the story, but it's JD's story and it's Drew Estate's story. It's there's so much into it. Talk to us a little bit about that and what that's like to see that kind of start as an idea and now it's coming to fruition as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, like how you said, it was started off as an idea. It was um it was a long time coming for Jay Sanenson, and I've been so blown away by the progress that we've made, through, first concept, second concept, to now what we have now, and have announced. Jay Sanenson is a family establishment. It's a O to his son, to JD2, which I think, of course, hey, we talked about, the father and son thing. His son is his best friend, and honestly, to see JD use, going back, and how is that full circle for him, right? He started off at the World Trade Center as a retailer, right? A lot of people forget that in the 30 years, he was basically, essentially, a retailer, and
Hmm.
worked at cigars. So, going back to that, but then also having this factory, that is going to be rolling 500 cigars a day there as well, for these new brands that he also got to come up with. And I didn't get to name any of these. He came with, he brought these out in the drone. He just said, "Hey, boom." He was like, bro, when he showed us these brands, I was blown away. I loved each one of them, homegrown, Madrugada, Madrugada. How can't you love that? And the band of it is beautiful. 13 years. To me, I told JD this and I say it every single time. That's already my favorite cigar. I just love the meaning and story behind it as well.
Yeah.
And then of course, I said homegrown. There's our trademark, and yeah. Oh, and then of course the West End one with Stacey Wade, with the gin company, which they've been basically family, for all this time. And this is this new chapter for JD too. Not JD too, JD, like JD as well.
Oh, sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah. Also because he gets that full circle moment. He gets now something that legacy that he gets to leave for his son, and basically this ultimate gift that he is doing to ensure that his family is also staying in the tobacco and the cigar making business. This is going to be a bar, a restaurant with the 5-star chef with us, with Jules Ning, stage. You also could go to the factory. There's lockers there. There's going to be so many cool events that are happening there, and of course, it's JD. You know that each one of these cigars that are in his humidor are going to be a JD certified and approved.
Yeah.
Right? Like he is not going to have a cigar there that he doesn't pass his inspection, but also his expertise as well. We have a lot of things cooking with it as well. You get to have basically you get to buy Drew Estate from the founder, right? You
Hmm.
get to now have these brands that that each one of these brands that we love and have loved for many many years, but now that you get to buy them from the founder. A lot of people have always asked us, why haven't we done this? There's a bunch of, there's the Davidoff Lounge at Hard Rock. Rocky Patel has his lounges. Like there's many other manufacturers, and we keep on going with naming them, but there's many manufacturers that have that direct to consumer experience. And of course, we're going to do this like everything in the Drew Estate way. So we got to do it our own way. Of course, we're going to have music, and there's going to be some live music that happens in this establishment. Of course, the bar is going to look super fly, and the only bar that has this green cross on the head top, which is our moniker, which is our bat symbol. So that has been a project that we've been working on diligently, and even with the things that we've been dropping slowly but surely throughout Instagram. We got to also say and show that we're doing the boutique of ST DuPont inside J. Sann Son as well, and that's going to come with its own thing. Let your imagination wander. JD is nothing short but imagination and creativity. He's gonna, there's gonna be something cool and dope that comes along with that too, and it be his own unique experience as well. And like again, I wasn't there at the factory, share, or back with Pedro, where Rubio was with him day one. Pedro maybe day 3, but no, I'm kidding. But right, like, but I get to be alongside him with the Drew Dominicana and also with J. Sann Son, and just having a small part in that. Him asking me, "Do you like this light, or do you think this light should be this way? This should be that way?" And I say, "Yeah, that way." And we keep it that way. I'm like, "Damn, I got a little part of J. Sann Son in there too." Like, so I've been loving that, and it's going to be our home, our Drew Estate home. When you guys come out, you got to stop by Miami or in the Miami area. Got to stop by Wynwood and definitely check out J. Sann Son, because it's going to be its own unique experience. It's going to be like no other lounge. You're going to see cigars there. You're not going to see everywhere else. You're going to see JD, of course, probably popping in there. You might have a wild JD appear like Pokemon, might happen in any given night. so it's going to be awesome. We're going to have super cool events there too. I can't talk too much about those, but of course, Secretary of State, no one does barn smoker. We do barn smoker. No one does down with the crown. We do down with the crown. So no one's gonna have events like Jason, like that we're gonna have at Sann Son.
That's gonna be awesome, man. Can't wait. I'm so excited. It's gonna be in a city full of landmarks to visit, and in an area, in a state and a city that has no shortage of cigar landmarks. I mean, this is going to be
Yeah.
instantaneous one. This is going to be so exciting. I'm pumped for it for sure.
Yeah, and
All
the
right.
energy that we're pouring in, my bad, the energy that we're pouring into it, it's full throttle. It's full throttle. It's full throttle. And JD, he is more than focused and more aligned. He's been focused on this for the last, I probably more than 5 years. I've only been with the company for 5 years. I got to go in and saw hear little small things, and then now to where I have got to see it develop and see things before they were building it, or as they were building it, has been super exciting. And yeah, just to be alongside JD along that process has been awesome. Oh, and super close. Like Wynwood is right there. It's you got to go see the Wynwood Arts if you come to Miami, anyways. So you go over there, or you go to Design District if you want to get your shop on, or things like that. It it's literally like the Bermuda Triangle, right? Sann Son's right here. Right here, you have the art, of course, and of course, JD's close to the art, and then you have so you have Supreme and Kith and all these amazing places. I might have been there after I left Sann Son on Saturday, but it's neither here nor there. This is a great place to be. It's awesome, man. It's lined up so perfectly for us.
I was so close. I was visiting Miami for some personal reasons a couple of years back, and I was so close. Of course, it was a Sunday, and nobody I knew was in town, or they were all busy not working because it was a Sunday. And I met up a friend at Salty Donut right there in Wynwood, and I was like, God, I'm so close,
Ooh.
and I was so close, and yet I didn't have a chance to check it out, but. It is going to be on the must-see list the next time I'm in Miami, so it'll be fantastic.
Oh, for
But
sure. We're locked in too. So you just send me up and well, I'll see what I could do.
perfect, perfect. Well, that will bring us into our fun segments for the evening. So these are some are going to be cigar related, some are not. And this is I promise you this next one's going to be the hardest one, but it's multiple choice. It's just for fun. So
Okay.
this, of course, I'm talking about is our presidential trivia segment. So this is the United Cigar Presidential Trivia segment, which is, are you ready to live the United lifestyle? Launch your palate voyage with United Cigars. You can celebrate 250 years of excellence with the Red Anchor, or experience elegance with La Gian Havana. Rekindle the spirit of 1776 and light up the skies with a firecracker, or celebrate honor, pride, and accomplishment with the Gold Star. Or you could just jet set in the globe and capture luxury with Atabey, Byron, Alfonso, or Bandolera, or now the Nelson line from Selected Tobacco. Don't just smoke, smoke United. Since 1901, United we smoke. So,
Hell yeah.
like I said, Javier, we got some true or false questions
Okay.
and multiple choice for your presidential trivia segment. So, like I said, man,
None of
this is
these are
just for fun.
incriminating.
No, like I said, this is just kind of some fun stuff.
Okay.
I think it's just I have this fascination with U.S. presidents,
Oh,
and I always
okay.
have, and so I just incorporated this segment in many years ago, and United's been thrilled to partner with me on it. It's been cool, and I really enjoy it, and so. I kind of typically try to pick something that's kind of related to my guest, and not knowing a lot about your story, Javier, and we've learned a lot tonight, which has been fantastic. But I just kind of pulled out this random topic from presidents, which is uh, presidential pet trivia. So there's been a lot of pets that have lived in the White House and have been pets of the presidents over the years, and so some fun, some wild, some crazy, some not so fun, and mostly dogs in recent years. But there was a
Gotta have a
president,
dog.
Calvin Coolidge, who loved having a lot of different animals at the White House. And so um, this first question is multiple choice. Which animal did Calvin Coolidge not has a pet in the White House while he was president? Okay.
Okay.
A raccoon. B, a lion cub. C, a hippopotamus, or D, a bear. Which one did he not have as a pet while he was president of the United States?
A raccoon?
Believe it or not, he did not have a hippopotamus,
I was
but
gonna
he
say
did have,
hippopotamus, but I was like, man, of course they probably did something to have the hippopotamus there. But go
or
ahead.
well, he had a bear for God's sake. He had a bear and a
Yeah,
lion. Like,
a
I mean,
bear and
this
a
guy
lion.
was, yeah, he was. Everyone talks about, there's some presidents like George Washington he owned famously he had 46 dogs during his lifetime. And while he wasn't in the White House, of course, because the White House wasn't around, but while he was president, he still had like 18 of them.
Jesus.
And yeah, seven of them were a gift of Marquis de Lafayette. He had seven puppies that was given to him at the end of the Revolutionary War. It was kind of like the victory gift that he had. So
Oh
he had
damn.
seven dogs from Marquis de Lafayette because he knew he loved animals, so he gave him
Yeah,
dogs. He
gave him
just
seven
like
dogs.
gave him it came they came in. I don't know how this happened, but as the story goes, he had a crate delivered off of a ship, and it was from the Marquis de Lafayette, and it was like, hey, salutations, congratulations, blah blah blah. Um,
That's
Here's your
sick.
present, and it was seven dogs, just seven puppies,
That's
just in a
that's super
crate.
sick. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome. I didn't know that, but
but
I didn't know that. That's awesome. So
Calvin Coolidge, yeah.
a bear has lived in
Bears
the
lived
White
in the
House.
White House. Yeah, bears lived in the White House. A raccoon, a lion clubs, a lot of other animals too. Another president was also fond of strange animals too. We're not going to go through all of them, but true or false, Teddy Roosevelt had over 20 pets while he was in the White House. Is that true or false?
False.
True, he had over 20 pets.
Any pets?
And
Okay.
he had quite a menagerie as well, the variance between dogs, cats. He had some other wildlife as well. Of course, he was the father of what we know as the national park system here in this country. So, of course, he was a
Yeah,
lover of all things nature and everything. So, it was just really, really,
that makes sense
really
now. Okay.
had his own menagerie, his own zoo, essentially, there in the White House. So, um, last question. This one's just funny, and but it's multiple choice. So, which president had two beagles, dogs, named him and her? That was their names. Was it A, Lyndon Johnson, B, Richard Nixon, C, Jimmy Carter, or D, Barack Obama?
Beagles. Dang, I don't think the Obamas were a beagle family. My first dog
Or
was a beagle. His name was Happy. Carter?
much better name than him. Close. He
Was
was
it
close. He
Carter?
was close. He was Lyndon Johnson. It was Lyndon
Lyndon
Johnson was the first one.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Dang, man, I
So
struck out, man. I thought I could at least get one. I should have went
it's
with
all
my
good.
gut with the first one.
It's all good. Oh man. Yeah, the Obamas had a dog, and then of course Biden had two German shepherds.
Yeah, I remember
I
Biden with the
forgot.
shepherds. Yeah.
Those are they actually had three well in the 4 years he was there because like one of them was too like wild and crazy, and then a family member took that one and they got another one while they were still there. But I
Any
forgot which one.
Goldens? Any Goldens been in
Gold,
the White House?
Golden Retrievers.
Yeah. I have to get back to me on that
Yes,
one. Yeah.
and I can't remember, but yes, I know yes, but I
We have
can't
a
remember.
golden now, but it makes sense, right? A dog makes the what is it? That's a we have like a sign that says this. A dog makes a house a home.
Hmm. Yeah, 1,000%. So see, Bill Clinton should have taken a bit page out of the book. He had a cat named Socks, the infamous White House cat named Socks.
God, name
No
sucks.
dog, no dog.
Bill Clinton, the best
Really,
president there
Bill
was.
could have been better as long as even if he had gotten a dog, it would have been fine.
Yeah. I guess that's a knock on him. Yeah, for sure.
Um, well, thank you for being a good sport on that, Javier. I really
Nah,
appreciate it, man. That's awesome. That
of
was our
course, man.
United Cigar Presidential Trivia segment. This one's a lot more fun, and obviously, no guesses here. So this is our Everybody Eats segment brought to you by Postania Cigars. If you always make sure that your servant's towel is bigger than your appetite, everybody will always get theirs. Postania Cigars is more than just great cigars made of cool people. They embody an attitude of gratitude and grit. With Postania, everybody eats. So,
Mm.
this is where I'd like to throw it back to your family a little bit. Um, what is the what is your favorite dish that you like to make or share with other people?
My favorite dish that I like to make or share with other people. Oof, not much of a share. No, I'm kidding. I love it when we do family style. Um, and I'm not much of a chef. Yeah, what I like to eat and share with people. There's there's this plate, and we would get it sometimes a lot with my mom especially, because we would split it. It's basically an appetizer. Dang, I'm trying to remember the name of it. There's a special name for it. It's like not picadilla because it's like you just pick at it, but it's just like basically like a sampler, right? You get at Denny's basically, but you'll basically will have like beans and then crema and then some carne asada, churrasco, chancho, which is like pork, and like tortillas and tajadas, queso frito, fried cheese, and maduros. It's just like this big plate, like about like this much, and then there's like
It's like a Latino charcuterie board, sounds like, you know?
yeah, basically, yeah, like almost like a Latino charcuterie board. But then they'll also would have maybe they'll have like one serving of rice or something like that. So we'll just like split that up. Like I always love doing that with her. It's almost like a fiesta platter too. I think is what sometimes people call it. Here, like locally in Miami, like at some restaurants. I hate that the names because but we definitely do that a lot because it's just like, oh yeah, we'll just share it, like, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
cute because it's like me and my mom, and yeah, I love it.
It's awesome. Did was she the chef in the house growing up? She make a lot of
Yes,
food for you?
yes, she
Well,
did. Yeah, my dad has two specialties. He was the grill master, and then he would make a ceviche. He'll make a mean ceviche.
oh, there you
But
go.
everything else was my mom. The gallo pinto was my mom. The arroz which is rice and beans, but the Nicaragüense way. Breakfast, like everything. She would make this dish that I love. And there's even something that I kind of eat now that I like just pinpointed that it like connects me a little bit to that, because it's just like it's like rice and chicken, but it's like in soup, but it's not. It's just like wet enough to get like that moisture texture. Then it just has like
Hmm.
bits of, and then it has like some potatoes in it, and it's just. I forgot. My sister. I suck at names. But my sister, she's like, yeah, because she's like, that's just like basically that, and I was like, oh wow, it's like it's like a
To
comfort food that I get like sometimes on the way home.
yeah, just to throw back to your mom's like signature dishes and stuff like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
You talked about picadillo and I'm my family's from Mexico, and so like pico
Hmm.
here is just like it's a ground beef dish, right? And like a lot of people put it in like tacos or burritos or something.
Oof.
And I remember, my mom's wasn't especially like fancy or even like you could say even authentic and stuff. I mean, she would use store-bought, taco seasoning, but she would mix all this other stuff in it too. And
That
it
maybe
just like
too.
was this, yeah, that was like very specific like her. And like I have like I finally figured it out, and I was able to find the right spices and everything that kind of that replicates it pretty well. And I'm a really good cook, and I'm the cook of the
Oh,
family.
okay.
I cook almost all the meals here, and but one of my fucking kryptonites is rice. I
Oof.
cannot, oh man, I cannot make good rice, and that's so pathetic because I can make like some of the most complicated things, and I can like rice like because my grandmother made it, my mother made it, and it was arroz rojo, red rice, and
Mm.
it's there. My grandmother was the best at it, and my mom's was really close. I tell her this all the time. And today was Mother's Day, of course, so I was like, I have this is my annual reminder to tell you that I never gave you enough credit for how good this was because I've made it several times and I get close, but it just
Not
doesn't
there.
taste as good. It just doesn't taste as good. Like it sucks because it doesn't taste. And my mom's like, you're so much you're a better cook than me, and I was like, Well, I really appreciate that, Mom, but I'm like, I just, oh, I that is, I crave that texture, the flavor, and it's just like the thing that eludes me, and it's like the simplest thing in the world. It's the
Right.
simplest thing
Yeah.
in the world.
No, it's even
So,
yeah, I can relate to that because I've told my mom or like, here we have like fritanga or places that serve Nicaraguense food, but nothing really tops like her gallo pinto. So
mhm.
I told her like to like make a YouTube video and she's just like there's not a certain amount of what I put in it. It's like I know what's done by the look of it. And I was like, how the hell do you explain that? But yeah, we never really get
That's
close there, but
I empathize because like yeah, there's a lot of recipes, there's a lot of things that I make where I just know from the look of it. It's like,
the look
well,
of
how
it,
much
yeah,
was that?
that's right.
Was that a tablespoon? Was that a teaspoon? I'm like, I don't know. Like it was that much, whatever it is. Like
Whatever it was, yeah.
does it taste good? Yes. Okay. Well, then there you go. It's perfect. The perfect amount.
Right, yeah,
But
and it's always consistently good. So, but I don't get
yeah,
that part of it. But you guys always kill it. So,
exactly. All right. Well, this next segment is brought to you by Artista Cigars, which is truly the last hidden gem of the Dominican Republic. With nearly 70 years of rolling cigars experience, the family behind Artista believes in honoring their long-held traditions of handmade artistry. Artista's blends include factory exclusive tobaccos and front marks for every budget. In fact, Artista has one of the most varied portfolios on the market today. There's something for everyone at Artista. Now, if you're like me and you can never find or decide what to smoke sometimes, Artista is a blush to share because I know I can go to any box that they have to offer and I'm going to get something truly special. So this is our this or that segment, but it's meant to be rapid fire, Javier. So I'm going to give you a choice of between two things and you pick it. So
got you.
easy peasy. So we're going to go ahead and start with um, Drew Estate stuff. So Liga Privada or Undercrown?
Undercrown,
All
because I
right.
could
Well,
go
I'm
into
glad
a
you.
undercrown.
Yeah. I had a hunch that you might say it. So since we're talking about Undercrown,
Yeah.
we're not asking about El Tigre, Maduro or Shade.
Mm, I was so much of a shade person, but I love Maduros now. Maduro.
Oh, okay. That's a curveball, man. I wasn't expecting that because I know you were a Shade smoker. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm a shade smoker. Was
Where do where do you like to smoke cigars more on the trade show floor or on the factory floor?
oof. Trade show because factory is a fire hazard and insurance and legal jargon that I don't want to talk about. So
Fair enough.
yeah, yeah.
Fair enough. All right.
That's PCA's problem, not your estate's problem.
There you go. Would you rather smoke a Corona Viva or Corona Doble?
Doble.
Big and long skirt. Huh?
Yeah.
Awesome. Dude, you don't hear
So,
that very often, man. I gotta say, like a lot of people want to smoke. I'm a Robusto smoker. I smoke a lot of Robustos
mm,
but I don't hear a lot of people say the larger cigars. So that kudos to you, man. That's
yeah.
awesome. Um, all right. So these ones are a little bit more random. The beach or the mountains?
Miami, the beach.
The beach. Okay. Coffee or rum? I don't think you drink. You said you don't drink anymore, right?
I'm back on the dry spell, so
Okay.
coffee. Yes, double shot
Coffee.
espresso, please.
All right. Morning cigar or late night cigar?
Ooh. Late night cigar. Not the beach smoking in the nighttime. I'm gonna smoke after this. I need it. I'm like tweaking out right now. I need need some
Nice.
nicotine.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. And last but not least, let's go with um this one's funny. Would you rather sorry, I came up with this question a long time ago and I've never used it, so this is the first time I'm using it. It's really random. I'm just preparing you for it. Would you rather would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Hundreds of dogs. Damn, ducks are assholes. So I would say, but dang, man, I love horses. I wouldn't want to do that to some horses. But damn, I'm gonna take give me the horse-sized ducks, even though I don't want to hurt any horses.
Awesome. Thanks for participating in that, man. Awesome. Okay. Well, this next segment, we've talked a little bit about this, so I think we'll touch back on something that we were kind of talking about before. And
Sick.
this got me thinking about the segment when you were talking about the late night cigar smoking with your dad and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
this is our asylum moment, which is brought to you by Asylum Cigars. Refuge is more than physical placing. Sometimes it can be a state of mind. Some of life's greatest reflections can be found in our own personal asylum. Moments like these were made for Asylum Cigars. So light up an asylum and choose your refuge. Now, Javier, this is your first time participating in this segment, so this is specifically like, cigars are very communal, right? We're sharing it with it,
Yes.
like you and your father, you at events. Even right now, I know you're not smoking indoors, but like we would be smoking together, right? So even if it's virtual, right? So it's always kind of, for the most part, it's a very communal thing. It's a very community thing at the office, right? You're with
Right.
people. But
Yes.
every so often, we have those moments where we get to smoke a cigar alone. Sometimes that moment can be about celebrating something. Sometimes it's just that peaceful time.
Right.
You've probably had you've probably had a couple of dozen of these moments in your life, but what's one that comes to mind? And if you can remember, what was that moment about, and what were you smoking?
Okay, so I'll go with something recent. I was um I was on vacation. Um Everyone already gone like to bed, and it was earlier this year in January, and basically I got time to reflect. My dad, my mom, I basically got a Airbnb in this beautiful property out in San Juan de Sur, which is in Nicaragua.
Hmm.
Um, it's about what 3 hours away from the capital, from Managua, just the opposite direction if you were going to Esteli. Those who know. Um, but I love this place. So it has this beautiful view of like I'm kind of like on the top of the mountains. I'm seeing the different houses and the beach, the waves is coming in, and of course the tie. It's like high tide since it's the nighttime. You're seeing them splash and like the travel of it. So I wasn't quite ready for bed yet. I was like, you know what, let me, and then I wanted to soak it into. So I just had that moment, right, watching the waves, seeing how they come from afar, and then they finally hit the shore, and then and then they dissipate, and then it goes away, and then they go back into the ocean, and then so it's like it had me reflecting. I mean, that's deep. You could take that so many different ways, right? Like an idea. Sometimes an idea isn't right at the time, but you got to put it back in the memory bank, and then maybe position it later, and then it would be a big wave for like a surfer to ride on, right? But then also like how far I've come with Drew Estate, and in this time and in the time there, and I used to, and I'm not rich or anything like that either. I don't want to make it sound like that, but it was just a moment for me to like, dang, I got this house for my family, for my mom and dad to stay. I didn't ask my parents for money. My uncle and my cousin are here too, and my godfather, who I was talking about, who worked cutting the leaves, and went with us to the Grand Fabrica. And I was just like, man, like look at that. 2-3 years ago, 5 years ago, even at that, I couldn't even fathom this, So it was like a reflective moment with the cigar, which was perfect because it was I'm a fucking kingpin, and like I made it. Yeah, so that was it the last time I smoked alone? I think that was like, yeah, that has to be like, nah, I think I smoked alone because my girlfriend, she doesn't really smoke. So then, yeah, like there's probably like a night that I had that I was just smoking, and but she was still there. I wasn't completely alone. I was just smoking, but it was the only one smoking. So
Yeah. It's moments in life though, man. Like I get what you said. Like you don't really feel like a kingpin, but you feel like you've made it. Like I have the stupid. I've shared this before, like on my show. Like the moment that I
Yeah,
felt like I made it is, is when I moved to this house and I had the opportunity to get a second refrigerator. It's right over here. It's to my left. It's my drink fridge, and I'm like,
that's
freaking.
sick.
I'm like, I have a whole fridge for basically my drinks and stuff. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I've made it. I have a second refrigerator.
yeah.
You
You're like
But
Peralta.
it's the
There's a
simple
second
things.
page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, except there's not tobacco. It doesn't have tobacco seeds in it.
Tobacco.
Um, but
No, that's
but
sick. Yeah.
that's awesome though, man. Man, what a treat this has been. I've really loved the conversation. Thank you so much for the opportunity and coming
Same
on
here,
and
man.
sharing your story and talking about this new era of Drew Estate, man. We're all excited. We're all thrilled to be a part of it too in our own small corners in our own small ways and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be man, it's gonna be so much fun. We're thrilled for it. So
The Javiera. Remember
the
that. You gotta. We're
Javier,
trying to
yeah,
market.
gotta get
Yeah, 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 yeah. We're trying to market
love
that
it.
and get the people going on that.
All right, so this is our last question of the evening, and of course, it is our curveball segment, which is always brought to you by Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Fastballs or curveballs, it doesn't matter since the company's inception. Steve Sock has been knocking them out of the park. Count them
Mm,
up. It's been 11 consecutive years, the consensus top three. Congratulations to our good friend, Mr. Steve Saka, and another connection to Drew Estate. So,
Sokka's the man.
so Javier, so here's the question, okay? If you could create one dream collaboration for Drew Estate with any person, any
Mm,
artist, musician,
mm.
athlete, brand, dead or alive, who would it be and what would the cigar look like?
Damn, can I do three?
Sure. Fuck
Okay.
yeah. Fire away, man.
All right. So athlete, we'll get Michael Jordan and we'll do a Lancero since he loves Lancero. We have the king of Lanceros on Fawn, making sure that Lancero is approved. So I would love that collaboration. As far as musician, I would want Jay-Z, none other. He's been smoking cigars for a long time. Seen him smoking a couple of cigars. Would love for Jay-Z to do a collaboration with Drew Estate. I think that's more of like a robusto. And dang, if I had to put a wrapper on it, I would say Connecticut, but I'm not even sure. I usually see him. He smokes a lot of cohibas that I feel like that I've seen, or the ones that I've got to
Yeah.
identify, because sometimes they just take the wrapper off. A lot of these things.
Right.
Funny enough, I was
Well, and
watching Squid.
he had that collaborate. I'm doing the little quote fingers for people listening
Okay.
on podcast. He had that collaboration with Cohiba a while ago. That
Hmm.
was his cigar, but wasn't his cigar, and yeah, it was yeah, yeah. You guys could
So
do it right. You could do it
we
right.
could we could do it right. Speaking of collaborations in music, of course, we have Blacken, and this is now going to be available at our events starting this month. This is the first ever Metallica Drew Estate um, collaboration that we have.
Oh, that's money.
We have Blacken with James Hetfield, but we did this, to go along with their European tour, and of course with the Sphere. You have that. It's custom artwork. This is artwork made by Metallica approved artist. And then, of course, the rebirth of cigars,
On
bam.
the
So,
back. Fantastic.
so
Nice,
yeah,
dude. That's super cool.
look at your local lounges or check out drewestate.com/events and see if there's any in-store events near you so you could see. Of course, that's a great collaboration. I love that we did that, and that such on the head. And Rob Dietrich is right now and following them along on tour, doing a couple of stops with us, and that's good. Rob is such a cool dude and a great man. So definitely, if you guys are Europe listening, try to catch Rob if you can. And then I was thinking, of course, I wanted to do an actor, so that's where like my mind went those three places. Damn, I guess I could do an athlete. I said Michael Jordan. An actor, but my mind goes two ways. But I really would I'm not gonna say probably someone expected like like of course, Pacino, Joe Pesci, Robert De
Yeah.
Niro, the goats, like that would be phenomenal. But I would love, because I feel like I would just love this session of cigar smoking. William Dafoe cigars. I never really seen him smoke a
Okay.
cigar. I don't know. I think there was that one movie, Lighthouse, where he's smoking pipe tobacco or a little bit like that, if I'm not mistaken. But William
Yeah.
Dafoe, Tour de Force. I grew up. He's my Green Goblin, and of course, I loved that it came back for that Spider-Man as well. Far From Home, one of those. Or I think that Far From Home's the new one. But anyways, yeah, William Dafoe. I think he's such a great actor,
Super
and
cool.
it's super cool person, and such a vibe. He kind of fits that Drew Estate aesthetic a bit, like
Yeah.
a misfit in some ways, or like
Yeah. It's kind of like it was like a strange pull, but like after you think about it and start talking about it out loud, like it's a really good
yeah.
fit. It works. Yeah.
I think
I'm
I think
down.
that that'll work, and I think what that cigar would look like. Um, you know what? I feel like it will almost be like a cortaneta, something like
Okay.
that, like something small, something quick. He had something he could hit between takes and then get back on it. Something like that. I don't know why. I don't know. Again,
That's cool. I
that's
like
where
it.
my
I
mind
like it, man.
went. I don't know William Dafoe, or if you work for William Dafoe, hit
Hit
me
him,
up.
hit him up. Hit up Javier for sure. Awesome, man. That's great. Love it. Well, Javier, this has been fantastic, man. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, this evening, Sunday nights, I know they're late and I know you're going to work first thing in the morning, man. So to make some time
Yeah,
for me this evening just was means the world to me. And
same here.
I won't take up too much of your time because, like you said, you got to have that cigar before you go to bed. So I'll let you get to it and everything. But to all our audience, our 360 take. Done on the way to 360 for the whole year of El Fumartake's. We'll be shortly here in a couple of weeks. But we've got some great guys lined up for you in the next few weeks as well, and we're going to be talking about some more stories. So you definitely want to stay tuned. So if you were tuning in tonight on Facebook, thank you so much. Keep those likes, shares, and comments. Keep them coming. Our video broadcast on Facebook Live and later on our YouTube channel, LS Fumar, is brought to you by our good friends at Foundation Cigars. Nick Melillo began his career in the cigar industry at the age of 18, working in a cigar shop, the Calabash Shop, in his home state of Connecticut. He went on to work for a well-known company. We've been talking about him all night, Drew Estate, where he developed some of the most popular and prolific blends. In 2015, he started Foundation Cigars to create unique and flavorful cigars that would approve and appeal to everyone, from the novice to the most experienced smoker. If you are tuning into us on podcasts later, wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts, our audio broadcast is courtesy of our good friends at Grand Habano Cigars. Honest, compassionate, great cigars. Be sure you download, subscribe, and today and review. I appreciate all the 5 stars, and I appreciate the 1 stars, as long as they're constructive criticism. I love the guy who said, "Hey, Bear, your audio levels suck." I've improved them. Hopefully you can still hear me. Hopefully you're still listening. But to the one guy who gave me a 1-star, left it blank, because I tell you every week, man, fuck you. I've got nothing for you. Can't help you. All right. So, but we do appreciate everybody, and we do appreciate our good friends at Drew Estate as well, who are the sponsors of this show. So thank you so much as always. And thank you to our good friend Javier for coming on and telling us the story of El Tigre, as well as a lot more and more about his personal story as well and his journey. As always, I'm Bear Duplessis, live from the Alec Bradley Lone Star studio of Azle, Texas. This was our 360-second take. Guess what, everybody? We'll see you next time.
Peace. Smoke some more cigars.